going through growing your business. What are we going to be discussing today? So digital marketing is constantly changing. There's new solutions, there's new strategies, there's new platforms coming out. Someone keeps talking about something called TikTok every now and then. You might know what it is, you might not, but we'll try to talk around a certain few elements of how to grow your business. And we're going to be talking about the basic elements of it. So the first one we're going to be talking about is identifying your target market, how to talk about your business, and then thinking about sort of lead generation and marketing strategies with an element of automation within it. Now, everything we discuss is going to be B2B and in the B2C space. So there's going to be a mixture. So don't worry if at some point we're just talking about B2B or we're just talking about B2C. Feel free to just jump in, ask a question, unmute yourself, and you can just get involved. So when I think about growth, this is what I see. I see a rocket shooting off into the sky, not the organic growth that everyone thinks of when you're doing naturally, which is like a tree growing or a plant growing. To me, this is what growth should be. This is how it should be running so that you get exponential growth in a short amount of time. So you can actually take your business right up to the next level and you basically then do it again. So today, there's going to be 3 key learnings that I'm going to hopefully be able to get across to you. The first one is how to find the right people that you want to sell to online. What do you want to say to those people? And then how to grow your business using that information. And as I said, there'll be an element around the autopilot section. I think someone's trying to jump in again. So Ben, welcome to the party. So what makes me someone worth listening to? I've got 20 years of digital marketing experience. I run a successful digital marketing agency here in London called Yuya.com. I've worked in over 30 countries, and I've also worked with some of the really big brands that are actually out there, like Emirates Airlines, Sony Ericsson. I've played with Core Pay, and a couple of other brands that you may actually recognize on that list. So, first question. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is, I actually couldn't be more unhappy and I'm about to close my business, and 5 is, so the first question was, on a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is, I couldn't be more unhappy and I'm about to close my business, and 5 is, I don't need any help and I shouldn't even be on this webinar, how happy are you with your current rate of growth in your business? Just jump into the chat and reply with a number now so I know roughly where everyone is sitting. We will begin. 2, okay. Don't be shy, guys, it's okay. 3 is good. Hi, Elaine, by the way. Nice to see you. Okay, cool. Move on. So, how to find the right people online. The Oxford Dictionary describes your target market as a group of consumers at which a product or service is aimed at. A particular group of consumers at which a product or service is aimed at. So if you think about the next question, on a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is, I'm just selling stuff to random people, and 5 is, I know exactly who my target market is. How well do you know who your target market is? Reply in the chat now. Oh, Elaine's gone from a 3 to a 4. Oh, Marie knows who she wants. That's good. That's really good. Okay. A bit quiet in here today, but no worries. Let's move on. So, this is my friend. His name's Red Lips. He's Red Lip the Duck. He's going to help me out on this slide and on the next one. So if you don't know your target market, or maybe you do, but you need to ask yourself the following questions. What does your target market want? What do they like? Or what do they desire? What things do they consume? And I don't mean food, unless you're in the food industry, but what media do they consume? What do they read? What do they watch? Which videos do they go after? Which channels do they read? Which channel do they watch on YouTube? Which podcasts do they listen to? Then think about the geography. Where do they live? Where do they work? How do they socialize? So identifying the locations. Then on a technology basis, which devices do they use? Are they on iOS? Are they on Android? Do they use a PC laptop? Do they use a MacBook? Once you know the answer to these questions, you can actually take some time and really start to carve out your target market in more detail. Knowing your target market is actually one of the most important parts of growing your business and then generating growth in order to be a targeted sales process for those people. So once you know who and what they are, where they are, what they want to do, you can then create certain processes within your business. And then we'll talk about the sales process a little bit later on in terms of satisfy their needs. If you don't know your target market, then you should actually stop what you're doing, spend a week identifying your target market. To help you do that, here are 8 tools. Now, we all need tools and resources to go find stuff and find information, and there's loads of them out there already. And I'm just going to talk through these 8 simple tools that we've got right now. Google Keyword Planner. This is an amazingly powerful tool that Google provides through Google, their AdWords network. And you can actually just go in and type in what your product is, what your service is. It then allows you to use the Discover New Keywords option and get search volume and forecasts. So you then get an idea of how much volume is actually out there for your target market, for your product and services. More people in, there we are. Hotjar. Now, I think if you have a website, you should all have Hotjar installed. What Hotjar is, it basically gives you heat maps. So here's an example of a website, and it actually shows you that you get 734 clicks on this button, which is amazing. Now, if you think about that, you then know what's working and what's not. You also then get a number of recordings. So your website is recorded, and they show you the bounce tracking on the website as well. You can set up custom conversion funnels. You can then create feedback forms, feedback polls, and surveys, all within one Hotjar environment, which, if you think about it, is absolutely phenomenal because it gives you data that unless you built it yourself, you're not going to have this knowledge. Google Analytics, the audience tab. Now, if you've got a website, there's a good chance you're using some form of analytics. And if you're using Google Analytics, you can actually go on and have a look at who comes onto your website, but then which categories are they interested in. So ironically, this is actually you guys. This is from my own website over the last 7 days. So people who've come on and bought a ticket, I know that you guys are, 4% of you are interested in shopping. 3.2% are interested in travel. 16% sit in the life category of job changes recently or started a new job. And I can now think about, right, if I know this knowledge and information, what do I need to structure out? What information, what content can I produce based around that? Google Trends, completely free tool. Go on to Google, just search for Google Trends, and you can just literally drop in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different search terms. Look at any country that you want in a certain time frame. I'm looking at 12 months in whichever category, and you can look at different types of searches. So what I've got in front of you here is flights to Lisbon, flights to Berlin, flights to Rome, flights to Paris, and flights to Dublin. And obviously you can see what's been happening over the last 12 months, and then all of a sudden it drops. We all know why it drops. But if you can identify this trend in terms of your industry and your market, you can actually go ahead and then plan and forecast what happens. So there may be seasonal elements within your trends that you may not have identified previously that Google can actually give to you. Think with Google. It's a huge portal. It's a massive website which Google has created for marketeers and business people to go and use their free tools and free access to all their insights and information that they have as a business. They actually provide 4 main websites here, one of which is Google Trends. You can also do Test My Site, Market Finder, Find My Audience. And then you've actually got a whole load of other tools that you can go in and access as well. It's completely free. There's even a daily newsletter that you can sign up to that they actually send it to your inbox. You don't even need to go to their website. That gives you loads of information in terms of what's happening in the world, how things are progressing, new tools and new technologies. If you have a Facebook page and you've got people on there, have a look at the Insights tab. There is an abundance of knowledge in there, all based around your specific target market. And the amazing thing is, this is the back end of my system. And it shows you how many males, how many females, what age range they sit in, which country, which city, what language their browser is set to, not their browser, which language their profile is set to. It shows me different actions that are taken on the page based on the content that I push out, 5 most recent posts, levels of engagement, which different topics there are. If you can take this information and then you apply that to your own marketing strategy, you've got a huge amount of knowledge and information that's already sitting there for you. If you don't have that and you haven't started yet, then use the Facebook ad targeting tools. This is, again, completely free, similar to Google Keyword Planner, but it gives you detailed information of what's happening inside Facebook's system. So this is a screenshot from the back end. It shows you can actually look at age ranges, you can set different gender, you can look at detailed targeting. So this is looking at frequent travelers or frequent international travelers. In the UK, in English, and in the US English. It gives us 6.4 million people that are interested. But as you change the targeting, this little gauge here changes. So it shows you whether you're specific or broad, it gives you the potential reach. And then you can filter this in and out based on the type of connections that you have on different platforms. And then as you move forward, you can actually save the audience, and then you can come back to it and have a look, see how it's changed and molded. Reddit. So everyone's probably heard of Reddit. It's a huge forum, but what most people don't do, they don't go onto the subreddit section. And you can actually come onto the subreddit section of Reddit and run a search based on different topics, different products, different services, and you'll find a whole list of information here that talks about all the, but all the people that are real people who are either using it or got an opinion that are actually active on Reddit. It's an amazing resource for you to just go on and have a look at what's happening from real people, not coming from businesses. Right, now that you know who they are, what do you want to say to people online? You've all probably heard of something called an elevator pitch. Now, mindtools.com describes this as an elevator pitch is a brief, persuasive speech that you use to spark interest in what your organization does. You can also use them to create interest in a project, idea, or product, or even in yourself. A good elevator pitch should last no longer than a short elevator ride, 20 to 30 seconds, hence the name. Okay, question for you guys. On a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is terrible, I have no idea what it is, and 5 is, I can tell you exactly in 30 seconds what my business is about. How good is your 30-second business descriptor right now? Just reply with a 1 to 5 in the chat for me, so I know where you guys sit. Lisa says 4. Elaine shouldn't even be here. She knows everything already. Elaine, you're muted, by the way. John, whereabouts are you on the scale? I can see John right now, sitting in sunny Switzerland. 27, perfect. John, why are you here? Why are you on this webinar? You know everything. I was changing it to 2.7. Okay, cool. Right. So your elevator pitch, you can deduce this in 3 simple questions. 1, what is your brand proposition? What that means is a promise that you make to your customers. If you know what this is, that's your first part of your elevator pitch done. What do you actually provide? And then why do you do it? Now, obviously, you know this best. And if you don't know, you do need to spend time figuring this out. And finally, why are you the best? What is your USP, your unique selling point? What is it that you do that is only special to you and that no one else does, or no one else can even think about or imagine doing? If you take these 3 questions, you can spend the next few days figuring out what your elevator pitch is. And if you can't explain your business to a new person who's never heard of you in 30 seconds, you need to go work on your elevator pitch. Now, when you're selling, what do? Now, we all know our target market now. We now know what our business is, and we can explain it in blisteringly fast time. So what comes next? You add in some spice. Now, what I mean by this is that you add in additional elements to your elevator pitch, add in additional elements to your business descriptor. Now, this applies to both B2B, B2C, or the B2B2C market as well. So the first one is that you mirror the user's objective. So if you know what they're looking for based on the keyword research that you've done, based on the ad research that you've done, you can actually then start to talk to them about their needs and wants without even having to ask them the question. You include numbers or statistics. The more numbers and statistics you have, if it's relevant to your target market and to your business, it's going to make you sound more credible. It will give you more ability to come across as someone who knows what they're talking about because you know about your industry. Appeal to the user's sense of entitlement. This is an interesting one. It does work. Some people are really uncomfortable with it, but if you actually appeal to someone and make them feel special, then there's a really good chance that you're going to come back with a really good sale and a really good connection. Emotional triggers. That's basically the same thing as what I'm saying here. The sense of entitlement, emotional triggers. Include them in your ads, include them in your landing page, and include them in your copy. Make people feel special. Emotional triggers always make people remember things. When you have websites, create a keyword-rich display URL. What I mean by this is when you think about this URL up at the top, no one's going to remember this one at the top because it's unique to this particular presentation and it's going to disappear once it's gone. But if you're a brand and if you're a company, your URL here should be something very, very unique. Prioritize your best copy. So as you're doing different types of advertising and you're pushing out different types of landing pages or your website and you're testing it using Hotjar, then prioritize the copy that works best. Take that copy, create new versions of it, and develop it forward, and then test it. Respond to common questions that you get. So if you're in the industry where, if you're in, say, for example, a B2C industry, and you get lots of questions and queries coming over to your customer service department or people who are answering questions, then once you have got a good knowledge of what those common questions are, put them up front. So people don't even need to ask them. Put them in your FAQ section. Put them in the landing page. Send it out in the communication that you push out as well. Focus on the benefits, really obvious one. It ties in really well with the emotional triggers of your business as well. So if you've got good emotional triggers, focused on the benefits of your business, you're in a great situation. If there's any ClickFunnels fans in here, you'll know this one. Hook, story, offer. It's the 3 steps that you should have in every single point when someone connects with you, be it an ad, a landing page, a communication email that goes out, anything like that must have a hook, a story, and an offer. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And finally, always, always, always have a call to action. Otherwise, people are going to come onto that section, that platform, that website, that page, and it's literally just going to disappear into the abyss. Right, a little bit about B2B for a second. So lead generation strategies. Lead capture. Lead capture is a way to collect information from a lead. So you can drive people to a landing page and then you can collect information from them that's relevant for your organization to decide whether or not you want to work with them or not. A lead magnet. What this means is that you provide something of value. So you offer something and in return, they give you something. I'm pretty sure you've all seen those forms where you go on and you have to say, hey, give me your email address and your telephone number and your name and your address and everything else, and I will then give you something in return. That's called a lead magnet. But they're also using a form to capture that information from you. Lead qualification. So a process that uses the lead's information to determine how likely they are to buy. This is an interesting one. So you've got different sentiment tools out there. You can also use different questioning methodologies as well to actually identify whether or not that lead is going to buy from you or not, and whether you should spend any time working with them. And then lead segmentation. This is the process of segmenting leads based on the information, habits, and activities. So you actually divide your market up, and then people who come onto the site, who come on as leads, you can actually then separate them off and send them off into different parts of the business so that they can actually they can provide better qualification, better results, and that your team can support the right people at the right time. But if you're looking at B2B and B2C, there's 12 different structures that you can actually use. There's lots of different ways to do this. And we talk about all of them here. However, I'm not going to go through each individual one because a lot of these are quite lengthy and quite in-depth, but they're different strategies that everyone can use. So you've got some, I'll go through a couple. Gated content is where you have a high value item, for example, an ebook or an e-video or an e-guide that actually solves a specific problem in your target market's business. So you put that behind a gate. In order for that person to approach that, they have to give over and their consent, all of their contact details, and then they get access to that content. Host an event, just like this one. Use live chat on your website. If you've got live chat, the chances of people wanting to engage with you is much, much higher. So what that means is they'll see a chat window pop up and they're going to go, hey, I can actually just ask the question straight away. And as soon as that happens, you can then start to push them into a sales process. Target top of funnel keywords. I'm going to talk about funnels and funnel sections in a moment, but target top of funnel keywords, what that means is people who are in the awareness element. So they're trying to figure out what they want. They may not have heard of you yet. It's driving more people to your brand and to the top of your, or the beginning of your sales process, so that you can actually start to target people further down the line. Okay, once you've got all of this together, you can do a test. See how well you can put this together. And Google AdWords is the largest and most successful advertising platform on the planet at the moment. And those ads that you see in Google search, they're made up of these sections here. So you've got headline 1, 2, and 3. Each one is 30 characters long. Description line 1 and 2, which is only 90 characters each. And then a URL path. You've got to get all of your information, your hook, your story, your offer, your elevator pitch, everything into this one neat little package. If you don't do that right, your ads will not work well. So this is a really good test for you to go in and actually have a go of writing ads that stick with that same theory that we just talked about. Okay, question 3. So I actually ran 2 searches on my mobile earlier on. One of them is a good result and one of them isn't. The one on the left, I searched for umbrella shops in Westminster. The one on the right, I searched for plumbers in Westminster. And for the first one, this is the result that I got, and this is the result that I got for the second one. In the chat, have a look at these, and in the chat, just write whether you think the one on the left is the good ad or the one on the right is the good ad. I'll give you guys a few minutes. Okay, hopefully you've had a good look at both of them. Let's see what we've got in the chat. One on the right. Lisa says on the left. Okay, let's have a look. So let's go through the one on the left first. Umbrella shops in Westminster. So I'm looking for an umbrella shop in Westminster. The ad is saying to me, Parasol Umbrella Company, Westminster take-home experts. New to contracting or looking to switch umbrellas? Call our advice team for free today. Join blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm searching to buy an umbrella in Westminster. But Parasol, these guys here, they're an umbrella company for contractors. So I'm not going to click on this ad because it's not relevant to the search string. Now, what they're searching, what they've actually done here, they're probably bidding on the keyword umbrella, which is there, and they've added in Westminster as a dynamic element, which is why initially it looks like, okay, umbrella Westminster is really relevant. But if you then read the ad, they've actually got it wrong. They should have negative matched shop, and then this wouldn't have appeared. However, this one, plumbers in Westminster, book a Westminster plumber. Westminster plumber, Pimlico Group, okay? Call for 24/7 premium service at competitive rates. 1 hour response, friendly and helpful staff, out of hour estimates, 24/7 service, family owned, UK based call center, 1 hour emergency response. To me, that's a really good ad because they're talking about all the things that you would perhaps worry about with a plumber. They say 24/7 and it's a premium service at competitive rates. Okay, so I'm not going to get ripped off. I can do it in the middle of the night if I need to, because that's when pipes explode. They provide a premium service, so hopefully that means they're really, really good. They come back to you within 1 hour, out of our estimates, and they're family owned. That's a pretty good ad based on what you're actually searching for. Hopefully you guys see that. Okay, the sales funnel. There's something called the AIDA model. AIDA. Awareness, interest, desire, and action. Each of these 4 sections correspond to a different section of the sales funnel. The awareness is creating knowledge of your brand or product to your target market. And that generally sits at this top part here. Interest. Generate interest in the benefits of your product and or service, but enough interest to encourage the buyer to move further down the funnel. Again, this generally sits around this area here as well. Desire. Use emotion to create an emotional connection to your brand or service by sharing your brand personality and move them from, hey, I'm just interested, but I actually really want it. And again, that's generally sort of around this area. Final, action. That's the call to action point. And of course, it sits right at the very bottom of this funnel, moving the buyer to interact with your company and taking the next step to signing up, making a purchase, or whatever else that you deem a conversion. What I mean by that is a conversion to you might be sending an email, signing up for a newsletter. It could be downloading a document, or it can be making a purchase or making an inquiry. However, this model is actually a really old model. The model is very linear, so it only thinks about going in one direction, which is top to bottom. It's structured exactly how humans are not, because we don't necessarily just go straight down in this flow. This one is not even a funnel, actually a sales process, where you think about this, so you get, okay, I've heard of something, this could be potentially interesting. So you go from the awareness section to the consideration. And when you're in consideration phase, you could spend a good amount of time just going around in circles. You might research the company, you might research the product, you might look at testimonials, you might look at reviews. So this loop here goes round and round and round and round until eventually that person thinks, you know what, I'm not interested, and they disappear off. But if they like it, they'll go down to purchase. Great, they bought something from you. Then it's up to you as the business owner to give them loyalty, to give them post-purchase experience. And hopefully at this point, they'll just keep going round and round in circles here as well. Hope that makes sense. So question 4. In the chat, write the name of the section of the sales funnel that you are struggling most with your business. And what I mean by this is it awareness? Is it consideration, purchase, or the post-purchase experience? Have a look what we get. Purchase section. Okay, Lisa. We'll talk about that in a minute. Elaine probably knows everything. Awareness. I've seen your Instagram. I know what you're up to. Cool. Okay. So there's a nice little mix here. That's good. Thanks, Marie. Awareness as well. Okay. So, how to grow on autopilot. you need to fill up your sales process. If you think about it, what you actually need is you need targeted volume at the top part here or here of your sales journey. Now, the good thing is you can outsource this section to other people. So you can go to an agency to actually run this for you. You can find a freelancer to run it for you. And if you can do that, you're actually having the top 3 sections taken care of for you. So the awareness, the consideration, and then research and discovery loop is already being done for you. So you don't even need to worry about this bit. All you then need to do is the purchase and then the post-purchase experience. Why? Because this may require specialist knowledge based on the uniqueness of your business. If it's not, then you know what? You can get someone to do the whole thing for you. If that's the case, you don't even need to be on this call. Now, automation can run for absolutely everyone. It doesn't mean that it's difficult or it's hard. It's actually very, very simple to do. If you know about this sales process and you've got your sales process sorted out well, so your awareness, and consideration, and purchase and post-purchase experience, you can manage internally within your business, or perhaps these 2 sections are automated. All you actually need to do here is drive people to the awareness and consideration section. So they need to be able to find you first in order to get into this process. LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Google Ads. There's loads of other ways to do it. You can produce written content. You can do webinars, just like this one, for example. You can actually go out and run events, run shows. There's loads of ways to get your name out there. In the post-purchase experience, don't underestimate this. Add people to your Instagram, add people to a Facebook group, and engage with them in terms of community. Get a LinkedIn group running if it's a B2B environment. Get them on LinkedIn, engage with them there, give them value so that they actually stay loyal to you in the future. But it needs to be specific to your business. It can be different for everyone. It doesn't need to be exactly the same. Here's really 4 quick examples. You run ads, you drop them to a sales funnel, which is a qualification form, and you get an automated booking. That's if you're a B2B business. Social ads based on interest and behavior, and then you drive users to an e-commerce site. You might be selling something in a B2C environment. That works perfectly. LinkedIn automation drives them to an automated sales process. Or that might be actually a manual process. It doesn't matter. The point is, some element in this section needs to be automated to make your life easier so you can focus on building your business. Okay, if there's anyone on the call who wants to turn on the video and have a chat with me, I can try to help you on some of the challenges that you might be having. And I will open this up to anyone who wants to get involved. We've got 8 people on the call. Hello, everyone. Anybody interested? If you're not, no worries. Elaine, I saw you wave your hand. If you want to chat, just unmute yourself.
Okay, hi Zeeshan. Anything else? The reason why I was saying, like, I think I know what I need to do, but I need to take my stabilizers off, is that I'm currently now trying to set up my own consultancy. So I've technically got a couple of clients doing a number of different things. And before, when I've worked in my big organizations I've worked in, you've got lots of money to throw at people to do all of this stuff.
Yep.
That now I know what I'm supposed to be able to do, and it's just about starting. So I'm really interested in stuff we're talking about with regards to the automation. So if I give an example, one of my clients, he's got a service where he's trying to basically sell stuff for podcasts. So I know what my challenge is. I know where the audience is, and I'm just trying to find out. No, I technically know who the audience is, but I need to find the audience in terms of raising the podcast, space. Another client's a TV company, and so that's easy part because I watch lots of television. I know where people who watch TV are. If I didn't, that's a problem. And so it's just that kind of challenge. So it's just trying to obviously tailor my offer to the clients that I have, and also taking it back to the basics because I haven't had to do Google AdWords personally for a while because we had the Havasses and all these people to spend lots of money. I don't have Havas money. I don't even have McDonald's money at the moment. So, and then even something as simple as my book club, which is quite, again, unique. And we've got a problem where we've got 300 people on our Facebook group and the conversion of people actually attending our meetings is only about 10.
Right.
So yeah, so that's why I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm clearly doing certain things wrong.
I think it sounds like you know what you're doing. You've got a good setup from what you've just said very, very quickly. It sounds like it's a testing situation here.
Yeah.
To create a test matrix of like, what have you done, amend it and change it, and then and look at the results. So do like A/B testing in your ads, A/B testing in your landing pages to see how it actually works. So I mentioned something called Hotjar. So get Hotjar, stick it onto your website. It's completely free for a certain amount of time. It shows you how people interact with that particular landing page or that particular site, which then gives you some information, right? Is there any emotional blockers? Is there any flows that people go through there? It's like, let me change this, or let me change the color, or make it bigger, or move it to the left. Which can, if you can't afford a full UX UI analysis, which, when you're a small business starting out, that's a really big expense. You can actually use Hotjar to do some of that testing yourself.
Yeah.
In terms of the lead generation element, there's lots of things that you can do. Some of the simplest things that you can actually do is LinkedIn automation. So there's lots of tools and systems that are actually out there that allow you to automate your lead generation in the LinkedIn environment. It's a really good system. You need to use it very carefully and very sparingly. So don't go for one of the ones which is like, oh, it's just a Google Chrome extension and it runs for you. You'll actually get your LinkedIn account blocked. Find a real reputable company that actually provides real customer support and service. Engage with them, and that you can actually then tailor your message to your target market in the LinkedIn environment.
Okay.
In terms of what to say and how to say them, there's a real trick that you can do. If you've got competitors on Facebook, so on the Facebook pages, there's a way that you can actually go and spy on the ads that they're actually running. So if you just literally Google Facebook Ad Center, it takes you to a page where you can then drop in your competitor's name, and it shows you, if they're running any ads, and if they are, you can actually look at the ads, see where they go through to, and you can then start to understand, right, they must be running these ads, so they're spending money, so they're doing well. And you can see what messaging goes out to that target market and whether it's working well or not.
Okay.
Use Google Ads, same thing. Use the keyword planner, go do some searches, have a look at the ads that the competitors are running. What's happening in your market, and see what people are resonating with.
Okay, and I've got one more question in relation to things like Facebook pages. So we've got a page set up as well as a group. And I guess regardless of what page it is, what business it is, would you recommend that we get all our Facebook friends to like them or not? Will that penalize us if they're not actually engaging in the page?
No, you wouldn't get penalized.
Okay.
That's just, you just have a much lower engagement rate, that's all.
Yeah.
Which can hurt you in the future. So when you're looking to scale and grow, you're trying to get engagement. Obviously, the engagement is based on how many people like your page versus how many people engage with the post. So if you've got a lot of irrelevant people in there, which is why buying likes and buying people to follow you doesn't actually support your business in the long term.
Cool. No, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Use that carefully.
Don't worry, and I'm gonna tap you again later. Don't worry.
Yeah, no worries. I'm going to send everyone an email after this anyway, inviting everyone to a nice free call to help them.
Thank you.
Nice to speak to you, Elaine.
No problem.
Is there anyone else that wants to get involved? Ask any questions? You don't have to turn your video on if you don't want to. Okay, no worries. Well, that basically is the end of it. I will say that what you need to do moving forward is Now that you've got loads of information and you know what to do and how to do it, you can just go ahead and launch your business. And that's great. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you found it useful. I will put this video back up onto YouTube. It will be recorded. It has been recorded. It will be up on there for you to go back to. And I will drop everyone an email following this, just to share everything and say thank you. Thanks, guys. Hope it was really helpful.